All right, good afternoon, guys. MWUSA Season 4, Episode 69. And let me catch you up on what's happened since I talked to you last. Um, all right, since I talked to you, I had just gotten back to the house from the casino. Twin Arrows, I believe, was the name of it. And I was going to go to bed, and then we had a big day the next day, right? So, next day, um, trying to the next day was going back to Vegas. So I had all this stuff figured out about what we were going to do and all these things lined up. And the kids were just not going to have it. They were in a bad mood. They were tired. They were cranky. They were yelling at each other. And so a lot of it fell through. Um, but we did leave the house and go to Oatman, I believe was the name of the town, and that town is on old historic 66, Route 66, right? So um, I did not realize how shaky that road was, how unsafe that road was, but for basically maybe 20 miles or so, you've got a cliff on one side of the car, and it is so close to the road that in some areas the white line on the right side of the road is not completely there. There's a cliff. That's how tight it is. And so it's a two-lane highway. The other lane is really tight too, so people coming the other way are basically taking up most of the road, and you've got to find a way to get around them without getting killed, obviously. So we drove that, and we get to this town, Oatman, and interesting, we had read that there were all these wild burros, wild donkeys, whatever, roaming around, and we were about 30 miles away, and we saw about three of them just hanging out in a field. And then we ended up going into town after some unbelievable views with all these cliffs everywhere, and you're going around the edges and stuff like that, and just overlooking, hundreds or maybe 1,000 feet down, just the nicest views you could ever imagine. And the weather was really good. It was sunny. It was high 70s at that point. Later on, got into the high 90s. But um, we go to this town, and this town is probably, I don't know if it's really a town. Maybe people just live there just because of the tourists that go there. But it's basically about 30 storefronts and a post office. And it's basically just selling stuff. And there are dozens of these donkeys or burros hanging around. They're just sitting there. And a couple of them would get into an argument, push each other around and stuff. But other than that, they were pretty gentle. Some of them would just walk into a store, and they would talk to them in the store and say, "Okay, I'm done with you. Time to leave," and it would turn around and leave. And one lady was like stomping her foot, and the donkey was stomping his foot, like they were like dancing with each other. And so that was a fun little thing there. Um, we probably spent an hour and a half or so there, and that was about I want to say a little over 100 miles, maybe 130 away from Park, which is where we had our house. So after that, we went through Laughlin. We were going to stop at Laughlin and eat there and do all these other things, but it's just the way that things were. In the car, we decided not to do that. We did stop in Kingman, and if that sounds familiar, it should, because the movie Cars cartoon took place there. So Kingman, Arizona, actually, the diner we went to is actually in there in that movie, and a lot of the other landmarks were in that movie. Um, so when we were there, we went to the diner, which I guess is in the movie, and it was called Mr. D's. And Mr. D's Diner is across from the Route 66 museum we hit on our way into the area. Um, and they had I'll probably post it, a big burger special thing. I didn't take a picture of it, the menu, but I think it was called something like, I don't know what it was called, but it's basically a 4-pound meal. Most of it coming from a burger with like 6 big patties and 6 slices of cheese and a big pickle on top. And I took a picture before and after, but I didn't eat the fries because obviously I don't want the carbs. But I ate, but it's probably a little over a 3-pound burger, no bun, lettuce, tomato, um, onions, and a big like vinegary pickle on the side, and it was really good. And then while we were there, I noticed when we pulled in that there was a place that sold like not metal, concrete fountains. And my mom's been wanting one for a long time. She had one that went bad, and she wanted another one. And we found a couple nice ones, but they couldn't ship them. So we hung around there for a while, took some pictures, and we found something similar online made out of concrete, which we may order. Just to give you an idea, like a 6-footer would go for anywhere between 1,500 and 6,000, depending on how elaborate it was. And there was like a little old lady there, and she's the one who was making it all by herself. Like she was probably like 5'1", 90 pounds, and she was in there making this stuff herself. So after we hung out there for a while, we went through Laughlin. I just wanted to see the casinos and stuff, and took pictures of that. And then we were on our way to Vegas, but I noticed that we were going to come within half a mile of California when we turned on the main road to get to Vegas. So I decided instead of turning right, I was going to turn left. We went into California a few miles just so the kids could say that they had been to California, and then we turned around and went to Vegas. When we went to Vegas, the priority was going to be to go to the M because I had like $175, no, $150 in free play and $75 in free food. So I wanted to get that taken care of. The problem was my ID had just gotten to Caesars, and I needed to check into Caesars, and I didn't have a card for the M on me, so I had to go get my ID so I could get the card. So we went past Henderson and past the M into Vegas to Caesars, got my ID. We checked into the room, waited for the guy from the mail room to bring me my ID. Then we went back to the M. I took the family over to the store there. They got some pastries, some ice cream, stuff like that. Some whatever my wife got. And so they spent that 75. It was like 100. So I used some of my pen play cash for it. I've got like $600 or $700 right now of that. And then I played a couple slots in order to use that $150 in free play, and I would have been perfectly happy breaking even. I ended up plus 223 on that. And from there, we decided to go get some food. Now, we didn't have any more free stuff, but I wanted the family to eat with me at the Wynn. So we actually went to Red 8 again. We were actually going to go to Wazuzu, but it was a long wait. And by the time we got around to walking around the Encore and the Wynn, we got to Red 8 and there was no wait. So we decided to go there instead. Now, Red 8 is a nice restaurant, maybe not as nice as Wazazu, but they have a table there. It's a community table. It seats 8 people. It's like a big kitchen table, and anyone could sit there. So we just took over the whole table. That way we didn't have to wait the 10 or 15 minutes or whatever it was going to be to get seated. And we ate there. It was really good. It was about over $300 for that, but just paid cash for that because I didn't have a room or comps or anything. And then we drove back to Caesars, and by that time it's already like 7 o'clock or so, maybe a little bit later. And stopped by Starbucks at Caesars and got everybody a coffee or a drink, a fancy drink, whatever. I know nothing about those things. And we had $10 in food as well that you get every day. And so I got some little cookie things for the kids with that. And then I took them all to the room. I told them, just hang out in the room. I'm just going to go downstairs, take a quick look around, and I'll be back. And went down, looked around, found a couple slots that had plays on them, played those through, even though there was 8.7 million Asian people there, including the grandma I almost got into a fight with a couple years ago when she tried to steal my machine, and then she had to watch me win a jackpot on it when I took the machine. But I saw her there and a bunch of other people, and despite the fact that they were all there, I still made $124 on some slots, and then played some other cards and stuff like that, some tables, and ended up had another 250. So that's like 374. But I only had a little bit over an hour, so that's all I could do, and still not bad for an hour's work between the two places. And then I went back to the room, and by that time it was getting late. It was like 11 o'clock or so, and our flight was leaving at like 1 a.m. So went back to the room, got everyone, walked all the way through Caesars to the other side to where the parking garage was, got in the car. We're going to the airport, and I remember I needed to get some fuel. So put in a gas station, and we went by like 3 gas stations that were closed for some reason. And they ranged in price anywhere from like $3.39 to $4.09. But we found one less than a mile away from the car return. It was like $3.42, I think, a gallon. Fueled up, went to the car rental place, dropped off the car, made sure it was perfectly clean and everything, got our bags out, and went to wait for a shuttle, and there was no shuttle. So, I mean, our flight at this point is leaving in less than an hour, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and no shuttle was coming. And then finally, a shuttle came and picked us up. Nobody else was in it. Took us to Harry Reid Airport. We get in there, we check one bag, knowing that American will check any bags that you want for free. So as long as they're small enough to fit on the plane, if you want them to be checked because you're going multiple connections, it's a good idea. As soon as you get to the gate, you'll hear them say, "We need 12 volunteers, and we'll ship your bag over there for free." And we just checked in all our bags that weren't like backpacks, and then we didn't have to worry until we got home. So anyway, then we had to go through security. Went through security, no problem. There was 0 people in line. Went through security, got to the gate, and then since they had asked for volunteers, we were like the later. It was like an American Airlines flight, but we were one of the later people that get on the plane because we had a lower number or higher number or whatever. Anyway, because we had volunteered, they told us just to get on, so we got on the plane early. They had just started boarding. They put us ahead of most of the people. Got on the plane and took off and went to our connecting flight. By then it was early morning. Kids got some food. I got McDonald's, the what do you call that? Sausage muffin with cheese. I got 2 of those, no bread, and a drink, diet drink. And then we got on the flight and flew home. So we had one of my cousin's wives picked us up at the airport. She drove us home, and then I checked, and they said that her van was done, so we could come pick up the van from all the repairs from her hitting the deer. And the insurance company had quoted like $1,800 with $1,000 deductible, so they gave me like $891. And the actual repair according to Honda, was going to be $2,900. And we took it to this place, which has a better reputation than Honda, and they wanted $5,500. So I said, look, we don't need the new windshield. I got someone to do that already for like $350. They were going to charge me like $950 just for the windshield. Took that off. They were going to put a new hood on, which was not even bent up. It has a couple chips in it from before, so why do I care? And anyway, we negotiated and got the price down to what Honda wanted. So about $2,900, and went to pick up the car. I signed over the check from the insurance company for $891. I paid them $1,100 in cash because they wouldn't put more than $1,000 on a credit card, and I did like $967 or so on the credit card. And then we went to pick it up, and it wasn't ready. They still hadn't washed it. I'm like, okay, we'll wait for you to wash it. How long is that going to take? And he's like, okay. And I looked, and the bumper was just a little bit off. He said that it was an aftermarket bumper, and they look slightly different. It's only like less than a quarter inch on each side. It looks like it's a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be, but I think it's fine. But then there was the paint touch-up that they were supposed to do on the door wasn't done yet. So I said, what's going on here? You told me it was ready. He's like, well, we always do that paint touch-up after we wash the car, and we hadn't washed it yet. I said, how long do you need, like an hour or something like that to do that? And he said, yeah. So my wife was still with me, so I stopped and got her some food and then took her to a grocery store, and she's in there right now getting groceries, and then she'll do her big shop for the week on Monday. By the way, in case I didn't mention, today is Friday. I last talked to you Wednesday morning. Yeah, Wednesday morning, about 2 a.m., I believe. So she's going to get a little bit of food, and then we're going to go home. We're going to go pick up the car, then go home, have dinner, and then tomorrow is Saturday. I usually don't play Saturday. I'm going to have to play tomorrow to try to make some money, and Sunday I'll be out overnight like I usually am, so we'll try to pick up some cash. As for Vegas, I hadn't really added everything up for the trip. I believe I'm ahead like way over 2,000. Let me see here. 600, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1,200, and then 13, 14, 15, 2,000, about 2,200. Actually, more than that. Yeah, like 2,350 or something like that. I think I played a total of like 3.5 hours, made $2,200 or $2,300. So that was good, but we want to finish off the week in a good way. So tomorrow I'm going to go to an area rich with blackjack tables, and we're going to focus more on blackjack than anything else tomorrow. And hopefully we can make 1,500 or 2,000 tomorrow. Would be really good, but I'm not going to be able to leave till tomorrow late afternoon, so I need to make sure I get enough sleep because I haven't slept since yesterday. Got to the house Wednesday about 3 in the morning, woke up at 7, and I haven't been to sleep since. It's been 24 hours plus since then. So definitely going to get some rest, and we'll pick things up tomorrow. But yeah, man, that red 8, I would have given that meal probably a 10 on a scale of 2 through ace. Not exactly as good as I remembered it, or it was the other night, but it was still good. And overall was a decent trip, had a decent time. And I was just talking to my wife. We're going to go ahead and set up our cruise now. So in the next week or two, I'll get the cruise set up, and I'll let you know about where we're going and when and all that stuff. So that's what's going on right now. You're all caught up. I'm going to let you go. We'll catch up tomorrow. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com. mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.